Friday, and thanks for tuning in to RadioFreeRhinecliff.org and this show in particular. Correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Djan Paunovic. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did, my friend.
Close enough. Thank you so much for being here. And in case anybody's tuning in, we started a little bit late. We had a snafu with the studio clock not matching up to the clock on our iPhones.
We are definitely up to speed now and on time.
Yeah, good. And Djan, I'll bet everybody who lives in Rhinebeck knows you.
Yeah, I've been for 17 years, man.
Yeah, and tell everybody what you do.
So I work at a Terrapin Restaurant with Josh, and it's been my pleasure to serve the community in the Valley for over 17 years. From the bistro side to the dining room, and hospitality is my thing, you know.
Yeah.
Being in front of the house as a restaurant manager or serving, helping with running food, you know, it's a part of a passion.
Right.
And Josh always said, you know, that it's amazing to have such a beautiful location for us in the center of a town, and we provide literally service to the Rhinebeck, you know,
right.
7 days a week, almost 364 days a year.
It's amazing. And you're one of the few restaurants that's open late.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we open every day till midnight, you know,
Yeah.
except Sunday. We're closing at 11.
Right. 17 and a half years. How did you get there?
Well, it started way back when I moved from Switzerland, and I opened up the Emerson Resort and Spa with Dean Gida, and Josh used to run a restaurant, a Terrapin across the river. And
All right, back it up even further. What were you doing in Switzerland?
So in Switzerland, I was a bar manager in many areas: Arosa, Davos, Cloisters, and the ski resorts area. So mostly in the hotel industry.
Right.
And
was that the Robinson thing?
Yeah, at the Robinson Club. This is where my father worked, and this is how my career started.
Oh, good. Back it up. Let's hear about that.
So Robinson Club is a German club that they offer almost like an all-inclusive resort with the sports, entertaining, and
right.
They have they specialize in a ski and in a summer resorts. So it's a very interesting combination because you literally on the Alps in a high altitude or on a lower part by the beach in the sun, and it's, as a young kid, it's an amazing opportunity to get to travel, see the world, and earn some money and experience.
And what did your dad do for them?
So my father was a front of the house in the reception area. So he was
oh my God, is it genetic?
Yeah. And believe it or not, when my father would come home from work, I always see my father as an old man. I'm thinking nobody wants to work in the hotel industry. And then when I went to visit him, I realized my father was definitely the oldest one, but there were so many young people there that work and have fun in a different area, on a bar, restaurants, entertaining, and that's how my journey began, you know.
And where was he working for Robinson?
He was working at Rosa in Davos. Like, he started in the 80s working for the five-star hotels at the time, but they weren't changing. Obviously, the name changes
right.
From five-star Savoy Hotel to Robinson Club, and that's where my era started.
And you said you went to visit him. Where were you coming from?
Yeah, I was coming from the former Yugoslavia at the time, yeah.
Okay. How old were you at this point?
I was 14 and a half when I started traveling. My parents, unfortunately, divorced when I was a little younger, so my mission in life was to go and meet him, kind of basically put them back together. And then once the life started happening and I realized how my two parents are completely different apart, that's when my journey began. I said, well, now it's about me. It's not my mission to reunite my parents. Could not be completed because of a different personality. And I realized that the whole world was out there to discover. And that's when my journey began to traveling.
What an amazing thing. So you're 14 and a half and your parents had split or a little bit earlier, a year or two earlier. And did you have siblings?
Yes, I did. Yeah. My sister, who at the time, she's two and a half years older, so she was definitely with a boyfriend at the time, and I was a little bit younger behind her, but we grew up in two different style.
And was she with you on this plan to reunite your parents?
Not at all. It was a solo journey.
Did you share it with her? Like, hey, come on, sis, you got to join me.
Not at all.
No. So I'm very interested in the little boy, because my parents split about that age, who's like, I'm going to fucking make this thing work and get them back together. And did you have a strategy? Looking at the clock.
I'm looking at the clock. It goes even a step deeper if you really want to go
let's
back.
hear about it.
So You have to think about it. I was born in Brooklyn, so my first passport was American passport.
Uh-huh.
And after my parents' divorce, I was in a former Yugoslavia with no documents.
Wait, so you were living in Brooklyn with the both of them?
Yeah.
And then they split up.
No, we moved back in
okay.
'78, and then they split in like in early '80s.
Okay.
But at the time, none of my documents were valid anymore. So it was just me and my grandma and my sister at the time. So I asked my mom to help me with a passport, and she said, well, go ask your father. And my father was in Switzerland at the time, and I know he doesn't come very often. So he decided to, when he came back, he says to me, John, I said, I'm so sorry, I'm only here for 2 days. Please ask your mother. So it became the shuffle back and forth. So I decided to take my own matter into my own hand, and I managed to make my own passport without any parents at 14 and a half.
And so at this point you had a Yugoslavian passport?
No, none. My first passport was a U.S. passport.
Oh, what do you mean you made your own passport?
I went to the embassy with my old birth certificate, my old passport with no parents, and I managed to somehow pull everything through. Yeah, and I managed to.
Where in Yugoslavia was the U.S. Embassy?
In Belgrade. Yeah,
in Belgrade, okay.
Which was like 80 kilometers away. But it gets better because...
Wait, were you hitchhiking?
No, I went on a bus. You have to think about it. At that age, you're so independent and you have no fear.
No, you were so independent, evidently. But this is one of the things that's interesting to me. I don't think that many American kids are that independent at that age.
It was a different time, different era, different mission. And I remember 2 weeks later, as soon as I got my passport, I was in Vienna in Austria, which is 650 kilometers away, 8 hours driving. I was on a bus and knocking in her apartment, and she was shocked because she didn't know how to travel because she knows there was no documents, nothing on it. It was amazing. And then 2 months later, I was finding my father, would know just the address and everything, and that's how my journey started,
Wait, but the journey started at your grandma's place, which was in the former Yugoslavia, 80 kilometers from Belgrade.
Yeah.
And then you went to find your mom.
Yeah, in Vienna.
In Vienna. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Literally, and how did you get here? And when I showed her the passport, she couldn't believe that I pulled that by myself.
And what was she doing in...
my mom, at the time, worked in a sewing factory. In Vienna, yeah.
And so she must have been kind of impressed.
Yes, and shocked too at the same time. And when I told her what my plan was, she was trying to steer me off, but it was nothing to do. So
you knocked on your door. You said, I did all this shit because I want you guys to get back together. Yeah. You shared your plan with your mom. And what did she say to you?
She told me she was trying to steer me off because there's no way that you send out a young kid even further by himself. And
But you didn't give up.
No, not at all.
You still believed somehow you could convince them to get back together. Did you have an argument in the back of your mind?
Never. Because that's the motto of my life. You got to believe. You got to be open-minded and share with open heart everything that comes your way. And that's the beauty.
So mom's like, John, it's not going to fucking happen.
No. And well, she didn't say it quite directly that because I would understand it if she'd say no, but she'd say, no, don't go. That's not going to work out. You don't even know where it is. But eventually, things work out the way. And
so you left her, you went to visit Pop.
Yeah, and I found him, I showed up in a town, and I was so brave. I said, no fear, nothing. And I showed up, I'm thinking, oh boy, why now? And then I start asking people on the street, and they know one of the taxi driver knew my father. And right in between, a couple of years ago, the hotel changed. So that's where the Savoy went to Robinson Club, and I did not know that. So that was not a curveball. So one of the guys told me, says, that's not the same name anymore. You got to look for this club. That's where your dad works.
How long were you looking around?
I would say probably 20 minutes, because after you realize right away there's like there's nowhere to go without information, so you have to look for information. So I figure out cab drivers will be able to know.
But you weren't like camping out in the street.
No, not at all. You have to think about it. It's like it went so fast, but as a 14, 15-year-old kid, that's it's a whole world. There's nothing there behind that mission, and that's my first introduction to the hospitality. Besides drinking out prior to that. So
when you got to Dad, you said, "Here's my plan. I'm getting you guys back together."
No, not at all.
Oh,
He
no.
was shocked first to see me there.
Right.
And obviously I couldn't tell him everything what it is because I wanted to go. You have to think about it, it's 5 years past since my parents divorced, so I needed
Right.
to kind of go and meet my father again and see where they are, figuring out who my father was,
Right.
why they get divorced, get his side of the story, And then I realized that they were not meant together. So,
Right.
and I was like,
And do you remember what it was that made you realize that they really weren't the perfect couple?
yeah, I guess different point of view, different personality, and
Uh-huh.
you realize it pretty fast, because it comes
Yeah.
back. Same with the people. You either like somebody or you don't like somebody, and you get the vibe and the energy. And I realized that they were like two different souls, completely not meant to be there. But the creation was amazing because me and my sister were born from the relationship,
Yeah.
and I love my parents to death. Both of them.
Yeah. And they're both still with us
Yeah.
here.
And I'm the only one that still ties all the like a glue connection between all the family. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
amazing to
surprised.
see that. Yeah.
You understand that's a really incredible story. This little kid like wandering around, you're going to get in a
But
passport.
then the opportunity that came up was like the whole life.
What was the opportunity that came out of that?
Well, out of that it was because once I realized that my plan fell through, it's like you got to
Right.
go back to the roots, and going back to the roots is coming back to Brooklyn, where I was born.
Okay.
So, and
So
in
you're in
1992, I decided to leave
Switzerland,
Yeah.
at this newly named place,
Yeah.
now Robinson, where your dad's working.
Yeah.
You gave up on this mission,
Yeah.
and you're 15 by now, maybe.
No, by that time I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's hilarious that you mentioning, because I was right on the verge turning 17 to 18, and you clearly legal to drink in Europe with 18 years.
Right.
But when I landed in the U.S., they were asking me, how old are you? And I just turned 18. So I was like very proudly showing off my ID that I'm 18. And the guy said, you can't drink. I said, why? He says,
Right.
you got to be 21.
Ugh.
And I'm thinking, I waited 18 years to be legal. Now I have to wait 3 more years. And that was a big buffalo to start,
Right. Huh. So you flew from Switzerland back to Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and what did you think you were going to do?
Well, follow the same plan, find my uncle at the time, see what's out there, but believe in a path was so much stronger. There was no burden, there was nothing else, there was no distraction. You just sit and go.
But what was the path that you were
The
believing?
path was that I'm gonna come back, find myself, who I am, who I need to be, and continue the journey.
And was the uncle your dad's brother or your mom's brother?
Was from my mom's side, yeah.
Okay. You say continued the journey, but had you defined what that journey was?
Well, I started, like I said, following the footstep in the hospitality, and I figure out, what bigger area to follow the hospitality than New York City.
Right.
Because when you think about it, all of the worlds, all the culinary, every expertise, everybody meets in New York City. You have food from all over the world, influences, and that was my passion to figure out how to go back to the city. But at the time was, like I said, I didn't realize that the age was 21 would define you to
Right.
work with that. So I got a step back after 2.5 months, needed to go back.
You went back,
Yeah.
back to Europe
Yeah.
for those 3 years.
No, for more. I ended up back from almost 5 years after that, and
Go on.
I became a bar manager in the same place where my father used to work, and I was so proud of that.
And so this is in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And you say you used to work, so you went back to this
Yeah.
place where he had been, but he
Yeah.
had gone on to somewhere else.
No, my father was still there.
Oh, okay.
It came back. He realized that after a couple of months there was something not right, and he keeps telling me, "Oh, I missed you. Can you come back to Switzerland?" So he paid the ticket, and I went back.
That's so sweet. And because when you were younger, before you reconnected and hatched this cockamamie plan, you didn't see him as much.
No, not
after
at
they
all.
split up.
Sometimes you'll see him maybe 3, 4 days a year.
Right.
over the courses of 5-6 years, which is a lot, for a young boy when
Right.
you get up.
So how sweet is that? That your dad's like, you know what? You've been gone doing this. I really missed you, and come here.
Yeah.
And how did your mom feel about that?
Well, my mom at the time lived in Vienna, and fortunately, I mean, she was very happy. But it was very hard to have them all on the same page communicating, because my mom was, even to this day, she's still very sore, but that's part of life, I never understood that, because when you love somebody, you create family, how can you not talk to each other after that? So that was something that even till this day is hard for me to understand,
Right.
Yeah.
And does your sister find that hard to understand as
Oh,
well?
yeah. They do. I mean, it's like
Right.
she's going through divorce too, and it's the same. It's almost like it's a replica. It's like they didn't learn from each other.
Right.
So,
So you went back. You spent like 5 years with your pop,
Yeah.
Switzerland. Not that far from Vienna, I'm guessing.
No, it's like probably not a 8 hours train drive.
Oh,
So it's decent,
It's
because
a
you think
hike.
about it, Vienna's close to Hungarian border, which is almost on the east side, and where my father lived was close to Zurich, which is still a good hike. You got to go through all the Austria and Alps.
Right.
So, but it was a beautiful area,
I was just thinking that must have been a gorgeous train ride.
and it's unbelievable, because they offer out of Vienna, particularly, if I remember correctly, it's called Maria Theresa train. It's unbelievable, man. You have like your own recliner seat, and you sleep through the night and comfortably, and then you wake up the next day, you're there.
Right. And when's the last time you've been back?
2 years ago, yeah. Me and Josh started lately going on some wine trips, so it gets a little easier because I'm close by to my parents, so I get to spend a couple of days with them,
Right.
and then come back. But life is harder now with the kids. I'm sending my oldest one to college in a few
jeez.
weeks, so focusing on them, on their future too, it's taking priority at the time, yeah.
And how old are your kids?
I have 2 boys. Liam is 16 and a half, and my oldest one 18 and a half, yeah, Lucas.
And where's Lucas going off to college?
He's going to go to Manhattan University. He wants to be an electrical engineer.
Oh, great.
So it's exciting time,
I love that. What does he think he wants to do with that degree?
Well, they lately they've been thinking about robotics, like
Right.
anything like a parts that they can build, moving parts. But the future's bright, and we always said, you see on your kids and on everybody else how time moving in the right pace, and it's unbelievable to see how my kids and friends of my kids, they're all into sports, they're really good in health, eating, school-wise. So it's like I could not be more proud of that than that.
And he's graduated from some local high
Yeah,
school?
Kingston High School, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that where you all live?
Oh yeah, we live in between Kingston and Saugerties. So,
Okay.
Yeah, right by Glen Eyrie. I don't know if you remember the area.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's I
Tiny
always,
little sign on the side of the road. Glen
I
Eyrie.
always love that you in the middle of the nature, but super close by to the city to commute. So it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations. And
Thank you.
How long a program is it to get an electrical engineering
Well,
degree?
4 year, and then after
it's
that,
not-
he's got 4 years of college, and then obviously if he's want to get a master, there's probably more addition
Right.
to that. Yeah. So.
Right. Gads. That's a lot.
I was trying to keep my distance away, because you know how when you press kids to go locally, they would say no. So I did not say a single word, and I was so proud when he decided to stay a local. Hour and 39 minutes of driving.
Oh,
to
is it?
see
Where is it?
Manhattan University, right in Bronx and Van Cortlandt Park.
Oh, right.
So great school, man. We took a visit there, and amazing, the sports facility, the teachers, and everything what they represent. I was like blown out of my mind.
Right. That's great. And what's the younger one into?
The young one is same thing. He wanted, up until 2 years ago, he wanted to be a marine biologist, and he changed it to the robotics too. So I'm sure he's gonna follow my old son footsteps there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Should come to my house. There's 3D printers in the attic working nonstop. They're constantly building. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
What a blast. And is your wife that way? Is she scientific?
She is one of the most amazing healers. She's a massage therapist, Reiki, and you think I have a big heart? Wait till you meet my wife.
I do think you have a big heart. Everybody thinks you have a big heart.
It's like she's amazing. It's like she's a cornerstone of everything that we build. We all working through this to build a family and put them on the right track. But we still feel like we the ages. Right now, if I have to close my eyes and you ask yourself, where do you imagine seeing your kids? Like, I could see them putting on my kindergarten bus, not on a college bus now, and this is how fast time goes,
Right. So freaking fast. And the kids just speed it up.
Oh, yeah,
man. Things. I spoke to a couple of people to prepare for this interview, and they all said that you're a really wonderful dad.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's a passion of something that they're literally extension of yourself. So,
right. But also, I mean, you telling me about, your experience with your dad, not being there and then being there a lot. I mean, it seems like, people go any number of directions from that.
I mean, it's true.
But it seems like you went in the direction of love and presence.
Guess where I work? In a church full of love.
You do.
And good food. So,
all right. The church he's referring to is the old church, a decommissioned church here in Rhinebeck, which now houses a Terrapin Restaurant. In both sides, it's Terrapin on one side and Red on the other.
Yeah, so we call bistro bar Terrapin Red, and the main dining room, which is they both part of the Terrapin. When you walk in on the left hand side is a bistro and a bar, a little more casual, where we serve smaller plates,
right.
And we open lunch, dinner, late night business, and
right.
Our main dining room, which is one of my favorite room in the building. It's you got 30-foot ceilings there.
It's a beautiful space.
So that's where we open for dinner. On the weekends, tend to open for lunch too.
Right.
We have two outdoor seatings now. We have a front patio and a back pavilion too, which it's like unbelievable now with the weather.
Right.
You get to sit
I
outside
love that
and enjoy.
Pavilion. But we're going to get back to that. I want to go back to sort of the chronology here. You came to Brooklyn to look for your uncle from Europe. Did you know where your uncle was?
Yeah, I did have this time I was prepared. I did have the address. I just didn't tell him when I'm coming.
Oh God!
And
so you like the element of surprise. Mom, I'm here. Dad, I'm here. Uncle, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. This is how we grew up. We grew up in a small town where if you at your friend's house and it's a lunchtime, you're part of the family. So this is the type of lifestyle that I grew up, and I thought that will continue, everywhere you go. But it worked out, And
right.
Let me tell you, they were very surprised too.
Your uncle, was he married? Did he have kids?
Married, kids, everything. And at the time, my godmother, God bless her soul, she was alive too. So I spent some time with her too.
And so did they take you in?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a couple weeks. Obviously, it was until you find your apartment, because my plan was to get there, use them as a base for a couple of days until I can figure out where my next move was. But you realize pretty fast at the time, as a 17-year-old turning almost 18, it was very hard to find a job that you can self-sustain yourself and pay your rent. And that's where I took my father's offer to go back to Switzerland,
Okay.
And I used that. It's hard, to explain, but I used that opportunity almost like you rebuild your foundation again from there. You learn, you adapt, and you took all the experience from what I did and made me who I am now.
You build the foundation in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And so when you left Switzerland, you came back to
open Emerson Resort and Spa.
Okay, which is out in Mount Tremper, just on the other side of the river from where we are, just out past Woodstock.
We done in the early 2000, the original opening of the one that burned down, unfortunately.
Right.
And we were.
This was with Dean Gida.
Dean Gida, Emily Fisher,
who was a famous sort of character over there.
God bless him too, man. He passed away, but I was having a pleasure to work with him on and off for 6.5 years. And we done amazing thing with the original inn.
But how did you get that job? I mean, you're living in Europe.
Well, coming back to how we deciding to move on, and part of the life was we all worked in a Switzerland, a 4-star hotel in cloisters where Prince Charles and Diana used to come out visiting. We came to the conclusion it was time to move on, and right in early 2000 was the Olympic Games in Australia. And we were heavily trying to move to Australia from Switzerland, because we figure up, it will be so easy to jump started with so many people going in there. And right at the time, Andrea, which was one of our friends that worked with us in Switzerland, she moved to Canada, and from Canada they met Dean Gida in one of the Relaine Chateau, and he poached her to come back and open up the Emerson Resort. So she started this project, and then 6 months into the project, when they were building it, she came back to the same hotel to visit for the ski area, and she realized that we were still there and we wanted to move. So she helped my wife and my friend get a J1 visa at a time, and that's how the connection started back to the Emerson. So,
right, amazing. So had you had any experience in this area prior to that?
No. I was, believe it or not, like when we didn't even spoke to Andrea on the details at the time, because she was just telling that, we're opening a resort in New York.
Right.
She didn't mention upstate New York. When you say to somebody New York and Europe, they all think Manhattan.
Yeah.
So I have a limo getting me picked up from airport to drive to the Emerson, and you have to think about through the day, there's traffic, and I'm 3.5 hours in, and I'm thinking, are we going to eventually get there? And the guy said, yeah, it's a little bit further out of the city.
Right.
It took us 4.5 hours with the traffic.
So you had no idea, you were going to be in the middle of nowhere in the Catskill Mountains.
Yeah, literally in between Phoenicia and Boyceville.
Right.
It was in the middle of the nowhere. Nothing was open. We didn't have transportation at the time because we literally just moved. And I was in shock because you see on a daily basis more deer, more wild animals than human beings, and it was like a shocker for me.
And were you staying on site there?
Yeah, right on site. Yeah,
it's a big complex.
Yeah. We stayed literally in a guest room at the lodge while we were prepping to open up the Emerson. Yeah.
And that must have been kind of fun to be prepping to open up a new
it was
thing.
Amazing experience. When you think about it, when you start something from ground up, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
But you'd had a lot of experience doing that thing in the past. What were some of the ideas that you'd gotten doing it in the past? You thought, we need to put this into the new place.
Well, there's a lot of attention to details. Attention to details. You think about every restaurant, they have a food, they have drinks, and a service. It's all about timing and the quality and the ingredients and how the whole package gets represented. And believe it or not, the service people are the one that tying everything together.
Right.
You can have the best experience with the food. If your service is bad, everything is gonna go down south. So this is one of our philosophy through the life. You gotta be, when you're in hospitality, you have to give a top-notch service, 24/7. And that's the main philosophy. You cannot steer away from that point of view.
Right. It's something I always appreciate when I go out to a restaurant is good service.
Yeah. We always said, you got to know your clientele. You got to know what they want. How you have to anticipate. Everything else it's kind of like part of the process,
Right. And your clientele. You came here, this is a tradition. You brought some cocktails for us to enjoy, these delicious margaritas from Terrapin, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And you also brought my usual order at the bar at Terrapin, which is nachos. And I'm like, well, that's amazing, that.
I remember I'm having a hard time remembering names for everybody, but I know it's very easy to associate them what they drink, what they love to eat.
Right.
And that's the first thing that popped in my mind when you talked to me this morning. I said, I got to get Norm some nachos. He would love that.
But you're not even the waiter who I would order from. You're not the bartender who I'd order from.
Yeah, but throughout the years, I remember, I recognize you seeing through the door, see what you're ordering. So this is part of the memories,
And when you brought in, I thought, fucking John probably knows like 100 or 200 people's orders. A whole bunch of clientele, patrons, by what they eat and what they drink.
Yeah, and it's very hard to talk when you're not in your game. If I'll be, let's say, on a soccer field now, and you ask me anything about work, I don't know anything about it. But once you go at the work, like everything clicks in. It's like computer kicks in. Right away if Mr. Smith comes in, what he wants to drink, what he likes to eat, where he wants to sit, and this is the part of it, how it works.
Right.
And I always said in a hospitality, everybody likes to be known. You at the most comfortable at your home, and along your friends where people recognize you, and that's the magic of everyday life, you know.
Right. And you were amazing at that, at knowing
you.
people. I mean, I think we met somewhere in passing, and then I showed up. They're like, Norm. I'm like, what's this guy remember my name?
Listen, you know, we all special in many different ways, my friend, and we all leave a good energy, good path behind us, and it defines us who we are, you know.
Right.
You know, we might think we have a small role, but our role counts every day, 24/7.
Yeah, it defines who you are, but it also really defines the place. And, you know, and for me, for example, I was like, oh, Terrapin, really friendly place. That guy John is there. I always get a nice welcome. You know, makes me happy to think about that place. And there must be hundreds and hundreds of other patrons.
It comes from the heart, you know, and that's what I said. You know, I live my life like this. There's nothing. I don't need to fake it. I don't need to do anything. This is who I am. This is who I want to be.
Right.
And this is the path who we all are. You know.
Yeah.
You know, if we all one big love humanity, you know, we just need to figure out how to get the best out of everybody, you know, and that's the beauty of it.
Right, and you're doing a pretty good job. So do you see those traits in your kids?
Not at all.
No.
You have to think about it. Like we live in the modern days that I have to beg, I have to bribe my kids sometimes to come to work, but they come to work under one condition. They know that they don't want to have that as their career. They come to help daddy out. And let me tell you, as a father, when I hear from my coworkers when they come and ask me when my kid's coming back to work, because they did such a great job, man.
Right.
So I don't care. You can slap me with $1 million in the face, so tell me that. I'll take that every time, you know.
So the kids come in once in a while with you to Terrapin.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. We're a very big operation, so we rely on our staff to come to work, but there's life. People sometimes cannot make it to their shift. And every now and then, you know, what are you gonna do when you run out of bussers? You ask help where you can. And my kids, throughout the years, they're very comfortable at the restaurant. They know what to do, and they're amazing. But they told me straight off the bat that they do not want to continue this path. They just there to help me, and I was very proud of them.
It's amazing. I love any of my kids. Like, I don't want to do it, but I'll come to help you. Like, good enough. So, you know, you talk about sort of staffing up the restaurant, and historically here in the U.S., restaurants are staffed with immigrants, undocumented immigrants and stuff. And lately, there's been a lot of crackdowns on that. Even here in Rhinebeck, ICE came and took somebody away.
It's the story of, it's very hard to even talk about it, you know. We blast that we've been having our core group that we've been here for many years. But again, there's a fear on the street that is something that it's unusual for us, you know.
And just in general, can ICE just barge into any restaurant and into their kitchen?
Legally, I would presume no, but I would have to, because they, in order for them to do that, they have to have a warrant signed by the judge.
Right.
And again, you know, there's such a fine line. I mean, it's hard for us to discuss something if we don't have information in front of it from there. But again, it's a weird time.
It is. And do you know of restaurants or bars around here who have policies? I mean, you must know people working for other establishments who maybe have policies on here's what we do if ICE shows up.
I mean, I'm sure every restaurant, they have their own thing, but you have to follow what the government says, what's on a website. I mean, there's I don't have the information in front of me, but New York State in particularly, there's a labor law where you look into that. It's clearly stated what you should do and not do in the case. You know, it's said that all of this stuff happening in our modern days era, you know, where we live with so much things happening. You know, we have such a great opportunity to move forward, you know, and in the right path. This is just distraction right now.
Right. But before this current thing, ICE, you know, the pandemic, the lockdown made it really hard for restaurants to find labor.
Oh, that was, you talk about pandemic, that was the weirdest time of my life. Because having an understanding that, you think about it like any restaurant, I don't care how beautiful they are, if you have no customers inside, it's the ugliest restaurant ever.
Right.
And to have that for the first time in my life experiencing, because you're not allowed to go out and see that was devastating, man. And I think the whole scene, the whole restaurant scene, everything changed after that. You know, it was a lot of restaurants didn't make it. It was very hard to adapt. You know, it's like, you know, sucks the soul and everything out of the restaurant. You know, when you don't get customers through the door. You know.
And how long did that like bleak time last for y'all?
It's, you know, we've been over 25 years in this industry. So Josh is very smart. You know, talking about an engineer, he's got a good background. He knows what we do. You have to adapt. You have to foreseen. You have to think ahead. You know, obviously, we're lucky. You know, we still, you know, we get shooken, but nothing takes us out of the game. You know.
Right.
And the beauty is, you know, we're doing two things right. We're buying the right quality food, and we prep them right, and we serve it. You know, there's nothing else in between that. You know, and we love our customers. We love what we do. But let me tell you, that was probably one of the darkest time of my life. You know, through COVID.
Right.
Yeah. And it's hard from them mentally to recoup. You know, when you know, I could not agree at home. It was like such a chemistry because everything changes. There was like so much. Oh, you gotta wash your hands. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. It was like it became like too much. We grew up. You gotta wash your hands before you eat. Those common sense. You know,
Yeah.
You don't need to repeat yourself 20 times. But that was it became like too much OCD. I don't know if that makes sense. True.
Right. Yeah, I slipped into that.
Yeah.
You know, just wanted to be careful.
Yeah. But you think about it, it's behind us. It made us better. I feel like and as a group, made us unite. I remember seeing so much more especially in my neighborhood. You know, everybody was checking on each other, so it revived a little bit more of the family, kind of like a group together. So I guess that's the only benefit that I could see from COVID.
Right. So backing up to the Emerson, which was it was a wonderful place.
Such a fun
I
time. Man.
lived out near there for a long while, and loved to go there. How did you get from there to Terrapin?
Well, that's when my first. I met Josh there, and I was very impressed with with his knowledge about the food and everything, how he approached.
And was this when Terrapin was over there?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
right on the Spillway Road.
In Hurley, yeah.
So I moved. After a while, we decided, me and my wife, we kind of missed Switzerland, but we didn't want to go back to Switzerland. So we figured out what's the next step after this, and we came up to conclusion that Colorado Aspen is the small Switzerland of the United States. So after that, we said, well, we spent 4.5 years, I believe, in the Emerson. We decided to say, let's go back to the Rockies, you know.
Let's see some real
Yeah,
mountains.
exactly. So we did. We spent there. I ended up working for Little Nell, St. Regis at the time, and Ajax Tavern, and it was an amazing time. Man, it was we almost 2 years at an Aspen.
Wow. Are you a skier?
Snowboarder. Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta tell you a funny story about that. But that's how I told my wife snowboarding in Switzerland, but she's a lot better snowboarder now. I gave up that. I retired. No more action. But we decided to move after spending 2 years in Colorado. We wanted to start a family, and we figured out that Colorado Aspen was not the place for that. You know, it was so much fun. You constantly out skiing mountains. There's no time to raise a family. So we decided to go back. Right while we were in the process of planning to move back, Dean Gida called me back and made me an offer to come back and become a general manager.
I love
of the
that.
Emerson, yeah.
So instead of you going back saying, "Hey, Dean, maybe I get a job,"
no,
he's like, "Hey,"
he called me back. Yeah. So and that was the move back. And you know, right at the time, you know, we were opening the new place. My kid was born, and I was doing some crazy hours, man. And it came to a point where I needed to part ways. And that's where me and Josh reconnected again.
Okay.
And my plan is to go back to Colorado, Vegas. And he said to me, he says, "How about you come and start work for me?" And that was 17 and a half years ago.
I mean, how had you met Josh?
TJ at the time was our breakfast cook at the Emerson, but he was also a night cook for Josh.
Okay.
at the Terrapin, and we've been friends for many years. And he told me one time, like, because he knew that I was about to move, and he was telling me, he says, "Go talk. Josh was looking for good managers. Go talk to him." And you know what? We'll never look back. 17 and a half years ago. Yeah.
So you showed up in Josh's door and knocked
No,
unannounced.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
this time we were prepared. We set a meeting. We met. It was like yesterday, and he offered me a job right then and never looked back. It's been the best decision.
So did you work at that restaurant over there in Hurley or West Hurley or
No,
wherever?
this was the Rhinebeck location.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh moved probably 21, 22 years ago. He moved in Rhinebeck.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I've been 17 and a half now.
And when he hired you here, what was it to do what?
I was a lead manager at the time. Yeah.
A lead?
And, yeah, I got promoted I think a year later as a beverage director,
Okay.
but I started as a daily, like a restaurant manager.
Okay.
And we run a bistro, and after a while got promoted to the bar manager. So
Okay.
Yeah.
The beverage manager.
beverage, yeah.
And so was that a good move for you?
Well, I grew up in a beverage industry, so that was my forte. So ever since as soon as I started there, I took over the wine list, and then maybe within a year took over the cocktails inventory. So right now we run a whole beverage program between ordering cocktail menus, wine list, inventories, deliveries. So all of the type of things, all of those type, they run through me, so.
Right.
And then Josh does the food part, and then we kind of meet once a week. We talked about a business. We have our manager meeting on Tuesdays, actually now Mondays, and it's kind of fun. It's been a good years, of wonderful coworkers and an amazing experience. So it's like I'm blessed.
Yeah. That's a blast. So as the beverage manager, like if I'm a wine rep, I got to come through you.
Yeah.
I bring the wine and let you taste it. If I'm a beer rep, I got to come through you. And you just don't have enough room for all the good.
I mean, that's the hardest part in our modern days, because you think about it, just you nailed it right. There's only so much room in your fridge that you can fit. There's only so much stuff that you can put on a shelf, but you're dealing constantly with 50, 60 reps from different purveyors. Everybody's trying to sell you something. So that's the hardest part of the game, trying to manage what you have, because once your cellar is full, you obviously have a menu. There's maybe 4 or 5 times of a year you can change your product from to season, but you also have a staple items that you keep them through year round. So there's not much room to move.
Right.
I would say if you think about it from the business perspective, you have 65% to 70% that's kind of staple, and then the other 30 are seasonal items that you get to rotate them. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of.
Gotcha. Interesting. And the seasonal items, I'm guessing for the beverage, are mostly beers.
Well, it's
Some
like cocktails.
wine,
You think
like
about like this is one of the watermelon margarita that we're just
Right.
drinking now. This is a seasonal cocktail.
Okay.
So
so good.
we're vigorously changing our cocktail menus 4 or 5 times a year.
Uh-huh.
Same thing with beers. We have 10 draft lines that they constantly rotate. But at the same time, we have Guinness line, Blue Point Toaster Lager. I love our Devil's Pet out of Catskill Brewery. That's a staple. We don't change them, so they always stay there. So
Right.
So a lot of our customers love to know when they come in what to get. But we have, I would say, 30 to 35% seasonally changes happen vigorously between beers, ciders, cocktails, wines, obviously food too. We live in such a beautiful valley with a beautiful farms that we have such a bounty, but we know we gotta wait for the season for the products to have them ready.
Right. And do you have any like plum brandies, the Yugoslavian kinds of liquors?
I love drinking them. Unfortunately, I don't have them, because we always said back home the best ones are the homemade that
Right.
you cannot import. So
You could make them yourself.
exactly, well, no time, unfortunately. Back home,
Was it like
Slivovitz, yeah,
Yeah,
plum brandy,
Yeah.
I got a good joke. You probably have time for that one.
Sure,
it's in
sure.
regarding the Slivovitz, but there was a long time ago, there was an article that they trying to discover like the most fit and most oldest people in the world. So they went to Himalaya. They found this guy that was like really fit. So they asked him, "Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do to stay such a fit?" And the guy said, "Well, I do sushi for breakfast, sushi for dinner, and sushi in the middle of the night." And says, "How old are you?" He says, 99. I says, "Wow." He says, "Not bad." They go further back to China. They're meeting even older guy. And this guy says, "Well, I'm staying so fit by eating rice. Rice for breakfast, rice for lunch, rice for dinner." He says, "How old are you?" He says, 101. So they're coming back to Serbia in Small Hill, and they see this little guy, and the guy is barely walking, coming to see this lady. Says, "Oh, how you guys doing, kids? Hope everything is right by you." And he says, "Yeah, we're here doing a little research about how old are you, what do you do for a living." And the guy said, "I done been all my life to doctor. I do slivovitz for breakfast, slivovitz for lunch, one for dinner." And I says, "I'm barely 38, and I'm still going strong." So you got to stay away from those if you want to.
The slivovitz.
Yeah. So one and done, it's fine, but you got to keep them away.
Oh, that's funny. And when you were a kid, did you all drink that stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember.
And was that it? Like the double distilled brandies?
Well, we call them a slivovitz, like you said. That was like a plum brandy. But a lot of people did drink beer at the time, vodka, cognac. But that was something that you'd go back to every house will have their own wine and they have their own slivovitz.
Right.
It's like a staple in the house. You know, your grandparents would make them, parents, you know.
And have you ever made your own slivovitz?
Unfortunately not. But guilty of drinking a lot of them from different parts, but never made one. You know, it's a process.
There's lots of fruit around here.
It is, but you should see the process of distillery and how much time it takes. We live in the modern days, man. It's easy to go buy one.
Your own moonshine operation there. Yeah. That's funny. And do your kids drink?
Nothing, man. No drinking, no smoking. Sports, school. It's amazing, man, how time changes.
How did that happen?
Well, apparently we taught them what not to do with our generation, so we did all of those things in the young ages, and now things changing. So
that's hilarious, but I totally believe that dynamic.
Oh yeah,
you know that the kids grow up, they see what people above them are doing, they're like, "I don't want to do that," and then they don't.
Yeah, I told my kids, you know, I'm so proud of you. And I'm talking out of experience because I tried them all, you know, and
right.
But it's amazing, you know, like that's what I said, future is bright, you know, seeing our kids, how they do and how they learn from us. Yeah. And it's amazing, you know.
Right. And I love that they help you out, but always say, "Not going to do this as a business."
I love that, man. It's like they got to put me in check too, but they're honest, you know, and that's one thing that I have in common with my kids, you know. I don't care what it is, what we have to talk about it. I got to be able to tell them that. And be 100% honest with them without feeling guilty or anything coming back. So we've been always having an open relationship about anything. So
that's so good. That's so healthy.
It is, man.
Good for them for a long time. So you've been in hospitality for decades and decades.
33 years.
You must have some crazy stories about that time.
It is. I mean, there's like it's hard to pinpoint one or two of them because there's like so many different ones. But coming back to since we talk about Aspen, I remember one time me and my wife we were in the snowmass snowboarding, and we were in a chairlift, and I swear to God, Owen Wilson was maybe 2 chairs before us, and I screaming at the top of my voice, "Wilson!" And he turned around and he waved. And he went back down. And then me and my wife were trying to catch him up. And I realized that, wait a minute, I don't have health insurance. I said, I cannot speed up. So we decided to way back. But that was a fun situation, too. But there are a lot of crazy stories. You know, it's hard to talk on.
But it's funny to think about that. I mean, being a little bit like star-struck or star-motivated anyway, because I imagine in all those years in hospitality and restaurant business, you've seen so many celebrities.
Like if I tell you, like when I worked in Aspen, we were 2 winters when there was HBO Film Festival. It's like talking about you packed in a bar with the stars surrounded by you. Like
right.
Cheech and Chong was there, one of my favorites.
Oh,
yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. But I seen like Jennifer Aniston with Vince Vaughn, we're on the same elevator. Like I remember escorting him one time out because there were too many paparazzis in the front. It's amazing. Same thing at Terrapin. We've seen a lot of celebrities at the Terrapin, but we always said we try to give them privacy. They just normal human being. They want a good service. They want to be let alone. Live their own life. We're happy that we have them.
And do you ever have to help fellow patrons understand, don't go seeking autographs and stuff?
Oh yeah, we always do that. We always said you got to treat every celebrity as a normal customer, but give them privacy. Try not to bother them.
Right.
If they nice enough that they offer, or they okay, that you take a picture of them, that's a different story. But we will never go and ask them.
And have you ever gotten just starstruck and tongue-tied seeing a celebrity?
Never. To be honest, I've seen so many in my life that it's hard to. It's a normal.
Yeah.
Especially in Hudson Valley, there's so many movie industry. You see celebrities left and right. So
yeah. And do you have a connection with? I'm thinking now of like Serbian celebrities, like who's that tennis guy, Djokovic?
Djokovic, unfortunately not. I would love to meet him one day, and I'm sure our paths will cross. But right now, nothing. I'm trying to figure out if who will be the biggest Serbian celebrity that I met. Probably my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Any chance he's listening? It'd be late over there.
Maybe I'll figure out to pull a recording and show it to him. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, this will be up on the internet, on their website as a blog in a day or two.
Awesome.
So you can send them a link. Also, if anybody's listening live, this is First Friday in Rhinecliff. Come down here. It's a benefit for the Rhinebeck Grange. $15 gets you a drink and some pulled pork or some barbecued chicken or some what is the brownie? Cricket brownies made with cricket flour, which I assume they dry them out, they desiccate them, and then they grind them up, and then make brownies out of them. I'm dying to experiment with that. Yeah.
Yummy.
Which brings up this question. You said your folks were both Yugoslavian.
Yeah, my mom is Romanian nationality, and my dad is Serbian. Yep.
Great. And so what kinds of things did they make? Did they both cook?
Well, my father and particularly not, but normally everybody cooks back home,
Right.
And I grew up with my mom cooking, my mom and my grandma cooking the most, but the famous thing is the suckling pig,
The what?
Suckling pig.
Suckling pig.
That's the
And
trend.
you cranked your hand like on a spit?
Oh yeah. That's you get guys together, and that's where the slivovitz come in handy because it takes a long time to cook, But that's my favorite, and every time we go back, we love cevapcici, which is like a mint meat, like it's a hamburger.
Cevapcici.
So think about like a hamburger sausage.
Okay.
And you get probably 4 or 5, 6 of them in like a small pita bread with like a hand spread ivar, which is like a red pepper coulis, with a little bit of sour cream and onions. It doesn't get better than that.
Hamburger. I saw online recently on Instagram Reels somebody making hamburgers in the shape of sausages.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
And it looked like something else that you would never want to eat.
Well,
it did not look.
Let me tell you, this is a specialty. Like every time, if you ever got a chance to go to Balkans, grilled meats are the specialty.
Right.
If you're a vegetarian, you might struggle because nobody likes vegetables over there.
So if you went to grandma's house or mom's house, what dish would you really hope they made?
Well, my grandma passed away, but I remember coming back after 4 years. It was one of my longest time that I see my grandma, and she made me a split pea ham soup. That was my favorite growing up, and
right.
I remember like that beats. That's probably one of my top of my favorite. Yeah.
And do you make any of these things yourself or try to?
Unfortunately not. It's been. I used to cook a lot when my kids were a little smaller, but now it's hard. Everybody's on a different schedule. It's hard to time and cooking it.
Right.
And everybody's on a different diet. Since they're in the sports, they have to eat different nutrition. It's very hard to cook an old school way how we used to do it.
Right. And does your wife cook?
Oh my God, yeah. She cooks almost 24/7 for the boys.
Oh my God, that's
we
amazing.
Have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 2 dinners. They are like an eating frenzy at home.
And you said, where is she from?
She's from Germany originally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We met in Switzerland.
So is she making German stuff?
Oh yeah. Just the other day, talking about a hamburger, they made a German meatballs and German hamburger. That was amazing. I do have to say that. Yeah. I was questioning the recipe at the beginning, but then when the time came to eat, that was an amazing food.
I'll bet. What a treat. And how do you stay so thin?
Well, question is not eating too much. You have to balance. And lately, I'm trying to stick, if I can, on 2 meals a day. That's
2 meals a day.
intermediate fasting.
Oh, intermittent fasting. So when do you eat these meals?
Well, normally you're supposed to eat them within a span of 6 hours, but in our industry it's hard, so it's up in the air.
Right. So have you eaten those 2 meals already today?
Oh yeah. This is my second meal.
On your second meal, this watermelon margarita from Terrapin. Well, we're just about out of time.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Djan, thank you so much for coming. And there it is. There's the handshake. Your handshake is unique. You wear this? The way you spread your fingers out.
It comes from the heart, my friend.
And it's great. It's easy to grab and always feels sort of like encompassing and warm.
Yeah.
Which is what you are, and which is what makes you so good. Oh, the one thing I wanted to say, you were awarded the Duchess Tourism Award of Distinction as host.
Yes, as the most hospitable person in Hudson Valley. Yeah.
And you really are, and thank you so much for bringing that
Thank you for having me here.
And bringing all the smiles here. I really appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday night and a fabulous weekend. Come down to Rhinecliff to support the Grange for First Friday if you can. It's going from 6 to 8. The band's going to start momentarily. And thanks to Matt Rosenberg for being here, and to Patricia Wind and the Epicurean for hosting us as always. Have a great weekend. Bye.